Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. In today's stream I'm going to be working on getting some more of these orcs painted. I started out on these 5 orcs on my last stream. So I will be continuing on with these guys, getting them getting these guys hopefully finished tonight. Testing out a new camera angle, yep. Trying to see what it how it is from above. Camera just a little bit over. One thing I just realized. Keep hitting my my hat on the camera thing in front of me. Get my whip palette set up. Things are getting serious. Picked up a new brush today. I went to an art supply store and just wanted to see if they even had anything close to a miniatures brush, and I picked up this brush. It looks pretty good. It's from a company called Princeton, and it's I think the line is called Snap. It's hard to see it on here because it's too reflective, but it's a 3/0. So I'll be trying that out. See how I like it. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with Warpstone Glow for the skin of the orcs. I'm just going to get some of this set up on my palette. So, how are things going with you, Jabil? What were you up to today? Oh, that's cool. Working on your stream, eh? I was working on... Actually, I went to an art supply store and picked up a new compressor for my paint, airbrush. Well, actually, I picked up a compressor and an airbrush. And still in the box. I haven't had time to open it up. But I did get them to plug it in at the store, and just so I can hear what it sounds like. And yeah, that sucker is so quiet compared to my other airbrush. So I can't wait to kind of get it set up and play around with it. Yeah, I got the Iwata Jet Pro. It actually has two plugins for so you can technically run 2 airbrushes off of it. I don't know if I'm going to use that. If I'm going to use that aspect of it, or if I'll just have one airbrush plugged into it. But it's pretty cool. It's really quiet, like compared to my other one. I was like, wow, this is night and day difference. So I'll be able to use this one at night for sure. Like, I won't have to worry about it waking up my wife. Nor will it be too loud for the stream, because my other compressor was just way too loud. Yeah, you can have 2 people using it. Or you can be dual wielding. You can have like 2 airbrushes going. I guess if you maybe if you have like, I don't know, 2 different colored paints or something, and you're swapping back and forth all the time, it might be useful for that. The one thing I want to learn how to use it for is some of the bigger vehicles for my orcs, but also for the terrain that I'm painting, because I do a lot of painting of the terrain, and that stuff uses up a lot of paint. So I'm usually using, you know, the primer in aerosol cans, and I go through those things really fast. They're pretty expensive, right? So it's like 15 bucks a can of primer, and then I go through them pretty quick. So now I'll be able to just prime them with like a acrylic primer. I don't have to pay for the, because really with the aerosol cans, what you're really paying for is the compressed air aspect of it, and they're more difficult to ship because they're, you know, they have compressed air in them. So I think I'll be able to save some money by airbrushing my primers on instead of using the aerosol cans, like especially for my terrain. It's like one of those things where it's a one-time investment. It's a little bit more money up front, but then you end up saving on materials later. So far I'm actually really liking this brush. The bristles are they're not as soft as the other crappy brushes I got. So it's easier to paint with this thing. I like it. It's funny because the guy at the store there, I was asking him about brushes. He's like, "Oh, well, what do you paint?" And I told him miniatures, and his ears perked up. And by the time I left, he was asking for my website URL because he wants to check out some of the terrain that I make, and he was thinking about getting into Warhammer. It's kind of funny. I guess he used to play Dungeons and Dragons, but he always wanted to get into miniatures. I think I kind of like this camera angle because I almost always hold my minis on an angle this way anyways. So I find when I have the camera in front of me, it always kind of looks like I'm painting like this. But if I have it from above, it actually kind of makes sense. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this brush. Well, I can actually get in closer on the zoom with this too. It's just that it's easier for me to accidentally get the mini out of the frame, but maybe zoomed in like that might be a little bit better. You finished off your what is that thing called? I want to say Land Cruiser. That's not what it is it? What is that thing called that you're building right now? Is it a land cruiser? Oh, land speeder, that's what it is. So you got that sucker down. That's cool. Well, how much of your actual, like that initial starter set, the one with like, I don't know, a bunch of the different squads and stuff, how much of that have you built so far? Like how many actual Space Marine units have you built? Well, why don't you build more of those? Get all your like yeah, just keep building the little yeah, I wouldn't do the large vehicles yet. Because there might be stuff you kind of there might be options on that you might need to magnetize or something like that. Probably better to just start with the smaller units and get all of those guys done first. Never been a... Hey Doom, you've never been a fan of the white... Yeah, I usually prime black. With this one what I did is I actually primed it black from the bottom. Like if you see right there at the bottom of his pants, it's all black. And then I did another spray of gray from kind of like the side. And then from the top I did a small spray of white. These are really, really light coats because I didn't want to over prime. But the bottom is actually black. So I did like a three color prime just to test it out and see how I like it. It's kind of a pre-shading technique that I've been testing to see if I like it, and if not, I'll just go back to what I was doing before, which was just priming them black, like what you were talking about. Yeah, from my understanding before was that if you're painting a mini that's gonna have a lot of like lighter colors, it's better to prime with white. But with these orcs, priming them black is totally fine. But for this group, I'm just testing the technique of like a 3-color primer, just to see if there's a big difference, or if there's a difference at all. From what I heard, it's this technique is especially useful on slightly larger models. So, for example, if I was doing something like this guy, this would have been a good model to try the dual or triple color primer, where you prime black from underneath and then white from the top, or like a dreadnought or something a little bit bigger than these guys. But with these orcs, I'm just experimenting and testing, learning different things, like figuring out what how I want to prime them and what kind of a difference it makes. And then from there, once I kind of get a good feel for what I like, then I'll just stick to that. Like if I paint a bunch of these and I find out that this, 3 different colored primer thing is, there's almost no difference at the end, then I'll just go back to doing black and I won't bother with them. But if there is a difference and I like it, then I'll stick with this technique. Everybody's different, right? If I taped up certain parts, well, if you taped up certain parts, that would kind of create like hard edges, right? But what the point of this technique is with the 2 colors is to kind of get almost like in a way almost a gradient. Like if you look from the bottom here, you can see that it's dark black, and from the top it's white. And you kind of get these transitions, like on his arms here. You see how that's like dark, and then at the top it's white. So it creates an almost automatic gradient for you, like a transition from a highlight to a shade or a shadow. So then when you put the layers of paint on top, supposedly the idea is that the white primer will shine through, and it'll make like for example, when I'm painting this green here, supposedly the green at the top of his arm will be a slightly lighter color than the green at the bottom if the bottom has more black. That's kind of the idea behind it. But I don't know if it actually works. On a small model like this. For bigger ones, I think it does, but that's why I'm testing. But prior to this, yeah, I was definitely just doing I used to just do black primer. That's what I started with, and then I just kind of kept going. Yeah, Jabilo, if you get like, I usually like doing them in batches of like 5 or 6. It just goes a little bit faster. I find like 5 or 6 is usually a good, 5 or 6 minis at a time when you batch paint. Because I find if you do like 5 or 6, you can kind of you kind of get the batch benefits of not having to swap colors all the time. But so it's a large enough number to get some of the batch benefits of painting multiple minis with the same color, but at the same time it's a small enough number that it feels like you can finish off 5 in a certain number of hours, and you get that sense of accomplishment, like you've completed something before you start in the next 5. But if you try to like batch paint, I don't know, 30 of them at the same time, it just kind of feels like it's forever since you started. You know what I notice? Just looking at this right now. I think if I have these minis in this frame here, I think my autofocus is pulling to the Interesting. I might need to an assembly line with a friend? No. How does that work? I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna put I wonder if this will make it easier for the camera to autofocus. I think it might. So how does an assembly line with a friend work? Like, you mean each painting your own minis, or like the two of you painting the same set? Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're painting and who your friends are and how good they are at painting. Like, because my friends, they have totally different armies, right? Like, we play totally different armies, so I wouldn't necessarily trust them to paint my orcs the same way that I paint them. It might end up looking like a really weird... Oops. Weird collaboration. Yeah, I mean, if you had more people. Well, I do know like there are professional painting companies like that paint minis professionally for commission, and what they do is they split up the tasks for sure. Like they have one team of people that are doing like assembling the miniatures, and then another person maybe like magnetizing them, and then they have another person who like does the whatchamacallit, priming. They use an airbrush and they prime all the minis, and then maybe another person that does all the base coats and a wash, maybe a little bit dry brushing, and then they have another person that might do like really fine detail or freehand work or whatever. So you kind of have a team of like 5 or 6 people, and each person specializes in one part of the painting process, and then miniatures just kind of go through that process from one person to the other, and then that way they can get models done faster, I guess. But for me, hey gaming lawyer, how's it going? Thanks. Yeah, they're getting another layer of green here. Testing out a new camera angle as well. I got the camera mounted from above this time. I think I like it better. Ergonomically, it just feels more comfortable not having the camera right in front of me. Or I should say, not having the camera in between me and the model. Now it's kind of looking from above, so it doesn't feel like the camera's in the way as much. Just still getting used to where to hold the mini in order to get to make sure that it's in the frame of the camera. The view's good. That's cool. Yeah, with each stream I try to test something, tweak and improve and test new things so I can kind of get better and better. Today I changed the camera angle a little bit, and I also shortened the music that plays when people follow the stream. My little dancing Borat. The song was the little sound clip that plays is I really like it, but it was just a little bit too long, so I kind of shortened it. Yeah, they kind of, all the orcs have this like, their posture is really exaggerated. They're almost always leaning forward. Oh. There we go, there's the song. Thanks for the follow, Doom. Yeah, it's just a little bit shorter now. It's about, I think, around 10 seconds or so. Whereas before it was about 20 seconds. Yeah, the orcs definitely have this strangely exaggerated, whoops, touch the top of his head, posture. And then they have that strong arch in their back. It makes them almost like I'm gonna have to glue some pennies or something to the bottoms of these, or nickels, I guess, because they kind of have a tendency to want to fall forward, just because of the. If you see the side profile, it's almost like the top of their body is. They're a little bit top heavy. And they kind of want to fall forward. Oh, you like my little dancing Borat video? Borat is awesome. And that little video clip of him dancing with his buddies there, it's just hilarious. Yeah, there's a few other orcs that are I can't remember which ones now. I think it's the ones with the jetpacks. They're like even worse. Like they just totally want to fall over. So I'll definitely be gluing something to the bottom. Otherwise they'll just keep falling over. Rotten Cactus. So what are you doing to teach noobs about painting orcs? Well, basically I'm just streaming these painting sessions where I'm painting my orcs, and I'm somewhat of a beginner, just learning how to paint and testing new techniques on each stream. And just answering questions. But the best way to learn to paint is basically just to get started and practice. I would definitely say it's probably more watch and learn a little bit and then go test it yourself, like, because everyone's technique is going to be a little bit different. When I watch other painting streams, like I'll do a little bit of painting and then I'll kind of see where I'm getting stuck or what I'm having issues with, or if I have a very specific question, kind of get clear on what it is, and then I'll go watch a few painting streams and see if I can pick up the answer just by watching, and if not, I'll ask a question. I find that just by watching people you can learn a lot, especially since there's like really there's no hard set rules for how to do it. Everyone kind of does it a little bit differently. Do you have an orc army yourself? There are definitely techniques to get an effect. Oh yeah, for sure. Inking brown to get a rust look on metal, for example. Yep. Yeah, there's you know, fundamental techniques for achieving certain types of things, and then there's, you know, all kinds of variations and different ways to arrive in the same place. You can't find a way to give them purple. I mean, like to add purple into your color scheme? What about like maybe just like how I'm doing for mine, I'm adding in yellow as kind of a color. So a lot of these guys have, or a certain number of them I should say, have shoulder pads, and then that's what I do is I basically, so for me it would be yellow, so I just highlight that part yellow, so when you have a whole bunch of them you just see a little bit of yellow here and there, and that kind of brings them all together under the same color. But I mean, I guess you could also do something like a darker purple on the pants or something. I guess it just depends how prominent you want that purple to be. I mean, if you really want it to be prominent, you could just paint the orcs purple, like their skin purple. I've seen some blue ones that look really nice. Purple pants equals Hulk. Well, there you go. You can have Hulk orcs. Or just Horks. Have you tried searching like on Google Images? Just type in like Warhammer 40k purple orcs and see what other people have done with adding purple to their armies to get some ideas. How many people do you think would be hurt if I painted an orc army where most of the guys have different colored skin, ranging from tan to yellow to purple to regular green? I don't think that's a problem at all. I mean, that's the beauty of painting Warhammer miniatures, is that it's your army, right? Your color scheme, you get to do whatever you want. I mean, if you wanted to, you can also add a little bit more, like develop some lore around it, right? Like there's a standard lore around orcs and why their skin is green for the most part. But you could develop your own lore. Like orcs are basically they're if I remember correctly, they're the green tint to their skin comes from like them being half like a fungus basically, right? Like a moldy fungus spore type of thing. So I mean, moldy fungus can just as easily be purple as it can be green. So maybe your army of orcs is from a planet where instead of the moldy fungus being green and only green, maybe it's like all kinds of different colors. Maybe the planet has really weird, strange atmosphere with different elements in it that give the fungus a rainbow colored or a range of colors. So you know, the orcs from that planet have all kinds of different colors. But in either case, I really don't think that's a problem at all. I would, if that's the way you want to paint your army, go for it, man. I mean, you're the one who's gonna have to spend hours and hours painting them. So you're the one who has to like it, right? I think no matter what color you paint them, people will have their opinions, good and bad. So I don't think it really matters. Like for example, you might paint them multiple colors and one person will be like, oh my god, that's so awesome. I haven't seen orcs painted all these different colors. That's amazing. Another person might look at them and go, oh well, that's stupid. Why'd you paint your orcs multiple colors? They should be green. Right? But then let's say you painted them all green. Like I'm painting mine with green skin. The same two people will look at it and one guy would be like, oh yeah, you painted them green, that's awesome. But the other person would be like, oh, you painted your orcs green? Yeah, that's so played out. Everyone paints them green. You should have tried like different colors or something. So it's like you're never really gonna make everyone happy. People are always gonna have their opinions. And I try not to worry about that. The main thing I think that's important is just for you to like what you've painted, and if it looks good to you and you're happy with it, I think that that's all that really matters. I mean, unless you're doing a commission work for somebody else and they're telling you what color scheme they want their orcs to be, then I wouldn't worry about it. Just paint whatever you want. Jamas, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. The one thing you can do too is if you want to paint them different colors, like let's say you wanted to paint the skin all different colors, right? Like yellow and purple and green and blue and whatever. You can kind of unify them together by keeping the rest of the colors the same. Like if they all have the same colored vest, same colored pants, but it's just their skin that's different, then it'll kind of look more uniform, and it'll look like they kind of belong together. Like they're all wearing, you know, the same kind of leather pants and whatever, but they just have different colored skin. As compared to like painting every part of the orc totally different. Like, you know, having one guy with blue skin and, you know, different colored vest, and one guy with like purple pants, another guy with yellow pants. Which of course you can still do that as well, but if you want to kind of bring some uniformity into your orc army, you can make their skin different colored and keep their armor, right? Their leather armor, same colors. Hey Gemma, how's it going? Yeah, no problem, Rotten Cactus. It's, you know, I don't know. I kind of look at this. This is a hobby for me, and primarily I do it for fun. So if I think it's going to be more fun to paint my orcs multiple colors, then that's what I'm going to do, right? Like I said, though, the main thing you have to almost expect is that no matter what you do, you're going to have some people that are going to think what you're doing is awesome, and you're going to have some people who are going to think that you made a mistake. But it doesn't matter which way you go, it's going to happen anyways. Like, you go get some Space Marines and you paint them all blue, people are going to be like, oh, why'd you paint them blue? Everyone paints them blue. Right? You go get some Space Marines, paint them different colors, people are like, oh, why did you paint them different colors? You should have painted them blue. So it's like, you can't really make other people happy or even worry about that. Just make yourself happy. And if they want to, the way I see it, if let's say you painted them different colors and they're like, oh, well, orcs should all have green skin or whatever, then tell them, okay, go get an army and paint it that way. Like, where's your orcs? And if they do have an orc army and they're all painted green, and they're like, well, I do have orcs, look, they're all painted green, then you just say, that's awesome, man. I didn't want my orcs looking like yours, so I painted them different colors. So how big is your orc army so far, Rotten Cactus? Did you get like a starter set, or like a start collecting orc set, or do you have a whole bunch, or? So I'm just going over and doing more layers of the screen because I got my paint really watered down, so I have to do multiple layers. So gemmas, I'm using this screen here. It's called Warpstone Glow. It's a layer paint from Citadel. Raptured Knight, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, Skitarii are nice as well. I like them both. I have a few Skitarii as well. But I think for painting, I think I enjoy painting orcs more. For some weird reason. $30K. Did you get that Horus Heresy set that came out a while back? Hey there, Giant. A good way to thin the paint. Sure, I can show you a good way to paint, or thin to paint. Just give me a second here. Well, I mean, I'll show you what I do. I don't know if it's a good way. It works for me. Narthor, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Alright, let me show you what I do for thinning my paints. Yeah, Betrayal of Cal. So what I use is let me zoom this out a little bit. I use like a wet palette, which is basically, this one is from P3. It's basically just a plastic box with a piece of thin foam in it, and it's soaked with water. And then you get this palette paper. There's a few different brands out there. I just bought the one from P3, Privateer Press. And you get these little sheets. And basically how it works is that the foam just keeps the paper saturated and wet. And I just add a little bit of water to kind of keep the paper a bit wet. So you can see here I have a little bit of green. Got a little bit of water here. So all I basically do is I just take whatever color I'm using. So let's say I'm going to be using the Warpstone Glow. Take one of my brushes and I'll just drop, well, I'll do a section right here. So I'll just drop, let's say, I don't know, 2 brushfuls, like so. And then in my water pot, which is off camera stream here, but my water pot, I'll soak up the brush, or put the brush in, or you can see how it's got this droplet of water on the end there. So I'll just drop that right there. Get another droplet of water. Right, so I did 2 droplets of paint and 2 droplets of water. So in this mixture it would be like 50-50, right? Water to paint. And there you go, I've got paint that's watered down. 1 part water, 1 part paint. And the wet palette will keep it wet as well. If I wanted to water down even more, then I would just add 3 droplets of water with 2 parts paint, or 4 droplets of water. And then from there, I'll just use my my detailed brush, and you'll see that the paint, I guess I can zoom in on this now. Move my palette out of the way. You'll notice that the paint goes on pretty watery there, right? Like it's watered down quite a bit. It's not as thick as taking it and painting it straight out of that jar. So, Lead Giant, I hope that helped you out. That's basically what I do to thin my paints. Narthor, this is Warpstone Glow. It's a layer color from Citadel that I'm using right now. So I'm almost done the skin on these guys. I've gone through 3 or 4 layers on each one. I'm almost ready to start working on the rest of the detail. Alright, so I'll switch over to probably do their pants next. And for that I'm going to be using Rhinox hide. So pretty much exactly the same thing with this one. Just gonna scoop up a bit of this color and add it to my wet palette. I'm sure you guys can't see because it's off camera view, but I'm basically doing the exact same thing I just did. Grab a little bit of water. Just to thin down the paint a bit. A little bit more. These guys, their pants are... The painting surface is rather large, so it's pretty easy to do this. So I can go pretty fast. First layer. So Gemma, if you're still there, is that the set you got? The Betrayal of Calth? Is that what we started with, or? And going back and gonna do another layer. Same color. Just a second coat. Since I've got the paint watered down so much. See, I find when I paint them in batches of five or six, I find that by the time I get the fifth one done, I go back to the first one. The first one's already dry, so I can do another layer. This guy's pants are a little bit. It's still not 100% dry, but I'm using the paints are really thinned down, so. And I'm painting really fast too, because I'm just going real quick here on the pants. But usually it's just enough time to for the last layer to dry and to start on the next layer. This one's not quite dry yet. So for some of these more detailed, some of these more, I guess, smaller details, I should say, what I'm gonna do is I'm I'm not going to water down the paint as much. Just going to water it down a little tiny bit by adding a little bit of water to my actual paint pot. So right here in this little section up here, I add a little bit of water. But the paint is still pretty thick. And that's just so I can do some of these more detailed sections here.
flashes under a canvas. No, nobody seems worth it. While the feeling's sophisticated, the view is so restrained. The past is nearing closer and closer, I fear. So let's just cut the bullshit and tell me who's independent. If I'm still alone and your life's escaping your mind, keep in mind, well, the air ain't as free as it used to be, but that's quite alright when you're still 18, it seems to be. And I'll tell you who's overrated. What's a beautiful person with some hideous dreams?
All right, time to switch to silver color for all the metal armor. And for that, I'll be using a lead belcher. And I'm actually going to, for this color, I'm just going to paint straight out of the can.
Make the ground shake.
Pouring Pug, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Hey, that guy, how's it going? Things are going good here. Just working through it, getting all my orcs done. My Ork Boyz. Just moved on to painting all the metal colors, or all the silver I should say, with some lead belcher. Silver is a fun color to paint because it just covers really well. At least that's what I find. And even if you kind of put it on thick and it looks a little chunky, it kind of makes, it doesn't look bad. It actually looks like the metal just has a chunky look to it. Like, because if you're painting skin and you put the paint on too thick, it doesn't look that great. But if you're painting, I find when you paint metal, I don't really have to worry about it too much in terms of like what it's gonna look like if I put it on too thick. Because if there's any imperfection, it just kind of looks like it's supposed to be that way. better chair. So that guy, what are you up to today? Are you working on anything? Any painting or armies or anything? All right. Found a box of sealed Space Marine Scouts. Nice. So you're going to be assembling those? Thinking about how to paint them? Thinking about painting some Orks, eh? Orks are fun to paint. Probably more fun than painting scouts. But that's just my opinion. Frozen Wasteland, that's kind of cool. So what would that be like? I'm assuming like a lot of white. Would the would you do like a snow effect on the bases, or would you actually make the orcs look like they're half frozen? Yeah, like a blue skin would kind of be cool. Yeah, I've never actually played with any kind of snow effects or anything like that. I know they have that like snow stuff that you can get for basing. Never played with that yet. It looks really neat, but not really sure how it works. So to figure out what colors are going to go with that blue, eh? Well, I would probably think like, obviously white and blue. Maybe just have different, different like shades of blue. Like maybe make the orcs blue skin, but make it like a light color blue skin, and then their actual like armor, like their pants and stuff like that, maybe make them also blue, but like a dark blue, like a navy dark blue. So just kind of go blue for everything, blue and white. It'd be kind of cool to figure out some way to add add like a really icy white effect to things. Like let's say you paint their skin blue, maybe even like dry brush white over top, but not in a standard way, but more like on a creating like streaks almost. So it almost looks like the orcs are not only are they blue because it's so cold, but also almost like they're walking through a blizzard and there's like ice hitting them and it's just kind of streaking everything. And not really sure if there's some way to achieve that effect. Maybe on like bigger models, like some vehicles or something. Sure, if you go to Google Images and search for it. Excuse me. Maybe there's somebody out there who's done a pretty cool ice effect. Hey there, Jabil. Thanks for the host. I'd probably think, just off the top of my head, I would kind of think that maybe Space Wolves would be an army that people might try the snowy, icy type of effects on more than other armies. So if you can't find, orcs, maybe look up Space Wolves. Just search for Space Wolves Ice Effect or something like that. Or Space Wolves Ice Army. Because they have that grayish color, gray-blue color to them, and they have those big, huge, like wolf fur coats, and their armor has a lot of a lot of fur on it and stuff like that, which kind of lends itself, I would think, to cold weather. So it's probably likely that there might be more people who have done like ice effects on Space Wolves than orcs, but you could kind of see what they've done and then apply it to an orc army, which might be really cool. Yeah, blue orcs are pretty cool. I might actually do a little unit of orcs in blue skin. Just to add a little bit of variety to my orcses. Like, I won't make them icy or anything like that. I'll do exactly what I'm doing right now with these guys, except just maybe instead of green skin, I'll do like a set of boys or something with blue. Blue skin and see how it looks. It's funny, this song has the same, my little when people follow me, my follow song is taken from this song that's playing right now. I took a little clip from it because I like it. But then whenever this song actually comes on in the playlist, it kind of sounds weird to me. It's like, does somebody just follow? Because it's the same music. I totally missed a part here on his. Yeah, I'll have to come back. So, JBL, what did you get done today on your stream? Were you building some Space Marines? Oh, you're having that issue with your mic again? Was it the USB port again that you have it plugged into? Just switch it again or something? I thought you had that fixed last time. Oh, that's gotta be annoying. I had the same issue. For me, it was just the USB port. But I think it has to do with, like if you plug something else in, like if you put it on a USB port and it works, but you plug something else on another USB port, it might affect your mic again. I kind of get the feeling that maybe USB ports share some kind of bus or something, some sort of like you can have like, I don't know, let's say 6 USB ports, but maybe 3 of them share the same bus on the motherboard and the other 3 share a second bus, and maybe if you have the capture card on the same bus as the microphone, it causes that problem or something. So if you didn't you didn't plug anything else in, eh? That's weird. If you did you try like recording with that microphone in like just whatever Windows sound recorder or something, or Audacity or whatever sound recording, like not OBS but any other software that you can actually record your microphone in? I'm sure Windows has some sort of simple Windows sound recorder. And maybe like record a clip and see if it's a OBS issue or if it's your actual microphone. It's kind of an annoying thing because it makes absolutely no sense why you do that. But I don't think it's your microphone being defective or anything like that, because I had the exact same problem here. So it was just when I switched to USB ports, it fixed it. And I know that fixed it for you too last time, but now it's broken again. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Oh, one thing that I would do is go to your OBS and create a brand new scene with nothing in it except for your microphone, and then record a short video, just like testing 1 2 3 type of thing, and then watch the video and see if the crackling sound is there. And then if you create a brand new scene and the microphone doesn't crackle, if it's just by itself, then start adding layers and see what layer causes that. If I had to take a guess, I would say that maybe your ripsaw, when you add the ripsaw layer, maybe that's what's creating that interference. Alright, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of Abaddon Black for just for the boots that these guys have. I kind of wonder what could have triggered it, that it was working before for you and then all of a sudden it's broken. I'm just painting these boots and I'm going like super fast. Because you don't really have to go slow. For the boots with the black, you can go pretty fast and they still look good. I'm gonna have to watch this video, skip through it, watch parts of this video because I'm really curious how this camera angle looks. It's kind of hard for me to gauge it when I'm actually doing the streaming and while I'm painting, but later on, maybe tomorrow, I'll go through and just watch the recording for a bit and just see if I like it. I just kind of see how the camera picks up on the autofocus and stuff too. Compared to having the camera mounted in a slightly different angle. Alright, last one. I think once I finish these boots, I'm gonna call it a night because it's getting pretty late and I need to get some sleep. Restarted your computer or restarted OBS? right, so let's take a look here. So I got these 5 orcs getting close to being done. I'm gonna wait till they're fully dry, and then probably tomorrow morning I'll throw a quick wash on them, so that if I do a stream tomorrow night, I can get into painting details, because once you wash them, you have to wait for the wash to fully dry before you can start painting over top. Otherwise, stuff starts to bleed. So I actually kind of like this brush. I'm pretty happy with it. All right, guys. I'm gonna log off and end the stream at this point. Thanks for tuning in. I'll probably be back on tomorrow night. If not tomorrow night, then the next day. So this is where they're at right now. Got the pants painted a darker brown. The boots are black. A few more details, like I gotta paint this thing that I have to add, and then but before I do that, tomorrow I'm gonna throw a wash on them. Just do a wash on the skin and the armor. It's just that they're still not fully dry, so I don't wanna do a wash until all the paint is fully dry. So I'll probably do that tomorrow morning, do the wash, and then that'll allow them to dry for the rest of the day. And then if I do a stream, it'll be later on at night. Alright, so once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to end the stream here, and I will hopefully see you on the next stream. Alright, take care, guys.